was meant to be the Fastlane theme song. I didn't really know what to play for this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Marks and Marquettes, welcome to the Throwing Book Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Shaun, and this is the only show on the internet that promises to do reactions to WWE programming at 9 o'clock, unaware of the fact that you can't watch the shows on the network at that time, because nobody told me. That's mainly because very few people listen, but that's fine. It's my fault. I will get that sorted out, and I want to address that straight away. It's needed, really. I will find a way to do what I said, to do as live reactions to Raw and SmackDown and NXT. I suppose I could do NXT. I think NXT goes up straight away. But again, I'm not going to hedge my bets on that one, given given what happened on Monday. But well, actually, it was Tuesday, wasn't it? What happened on Tuesday? But I'm working on that, right? But I might as well segue this seamlessly into what I thought about Raw and SmackDown, which was they were okay. It was decent segments. I wouldn't have had Samoa Joe get pinned in the tag match, especially given that gauntlet that Kofi's going to do. He'll probably lose in that as well. But you know, that happens. The Randy Orton AJ thing, promo off. That was cool. I wasn't expecting something like that, but it was quite good. All it was missing was when right at the end, AJ should have just said, "Do you want to shake on it?" And yeah, if you don't get that, then I was going to say Google it, but I suppose it depends on what you're into, really. Randy Orton's got a bit of a odd history on that front, but anyway, I've only been talking about SmackDown so far. Raw, I mean, the Drew McIntyre Dean Ambrose match, that was a nice little surprise, and Renee was surprisingly good on the commentary. I mean, she wasn't amazing, but she was better than she has been, and then I'll be honest, most of the show did kind of Raw kind of almost slid under the radar a bit. Oh yeah, there was the Triple H Batista segment. I like that. It's almost like Triple H deliberately said, "I want to specifically do a program with somebody who is a legitimate Hollywood actor," and then somehow the segments are quite good. It's funny that. So if only you could do it with other people. But oh, and there was the IC title change, which, I mean, well, basically, if you wonder why I'm kind of stumbling, is that I want to say something along the lines of, I wouldn't have taken it off of Finn. I would have kept it on him so he could build it up, much like how Seth did last year. But all that's in my head is Bobby Lashley's giant face on the Tron. Why was that there? Who decided to put it there? Was it Bobby's idea? Was it? How did the production man get the picture? What? Why was Finn not bawling his eyes out? Like, not bawling, that's crying, but you know, crying with laughter. Like, that was ridiculous. And it's like, oh, look at him, he's intimidating, isn't he? No, he's got a massive face on a screen. He looks like an idiot. And also, those eyes say, I never should have came back. My contract's really long. I can't go to AEW. Actually, on that note, when is Finn's contract up? I'm asking for a friend. As if I'm friends with Cody Rhodes. Anyway, I think we will actually jump into the main part of this, which is, of course, the fantasy booking. But I think after things like this, I want to start a new after pay-per-views. Episode after will be that pay-per-view, in this case, Fastlane. What I'd change. Because no pay-per-view is perfect. And admittedly, they wouldn't be perfect if my changes came in. But I think it could be better. And I think that is a reliable source of content. And that is all that matters. I'm tapping against my phone. I don't know if you can hear it on the mic. But I don't know why I'm doing it. Anyway, so I would say actually, because I did do some tweeting from the old oh wait, hang on, I know what I've forgotten to do. I've forgotten to do the transition, the ever important D chord. Anyway, so I was live tweeting Fastlane, and I thought the show was quite good. It had some very nice moments, and the things that were bad were actually quite infrequent. But there were things that could be done better. It was not a 5-star show by any sense of the imagination. So, but weirdly, I feel like there won't be too many changes going on with this, because I think with this, and also I should stress that I'm going to do this off of I have a results page, and I have ideas of what they should have done. I just haven't written them down. So this is going to be potentially a bit rambly, or potentially not, because it's rambly, but there's not much to ramble about. So it's a interesting dilemma. So I think, weirdly, that's all. I'm going to have to do the transition again, because this is getting into the actual booking part. For those who don't know, I should explain. The first episode of this, I wanted to do a transition, and I just played a D chord on the ukulele because why not? I don't know why I didn't go for another chord. Don't know why I didn't go for like an A major or a B minor, or well, it doesn't matter actually. I just went for a D chord because why not? So I hope you enjoy it, because you're going to listen to it again. Right, on with the actual booking. So the show started off. Well, actually, it started off on the pre-show, and I thought we were going to get Ray versus Andrade. No, that match has been taken away. It's being hidden, and instead we got Rusev and Nakamura versus the Kofi-less New Day, and it was an okay match, given that it had two separate. Hey, we're going to play a promo type deal and put the actual match in the little window box in the corner. I thought they were given a surprising amount of time, given what it was. Came out quite well. One of my particular favourite moments was Rusev's British German suplex from the roll through attempt from Xavier. Although when I did see it, for some reason, I don't know why, I don't get this a lot, because I'm not somebody who puts a match together. But I just thought, hang on, so Rusev has caught Xavier in the wheelbarrow position. So why does he not just basically lob him on the floor, like face first, and then put in the accolade? To me, that would make more sense. And, well, probably not a cooler spot. Well, it depends. But that's a very minor nitpick. And ultimately, I think this match went well, and I think the right people won. And I say that with trepidation, because this alignment of Rusev and Nakamura, I think the commentary described it as they joined forces due to their, quote, career frustrations. So why aren't they winning as a tag team? It boggles the mind. There was also that stat that I think Rusev's lost 17 pay-per-view matches in a row. Well, not in a row. He's not 17 pay-per-views each time. There was a lot of times where he wasn't even on the card. But ultimately, though, I understand why they had the New Day win, because you had that little tease of, Kofi might be in the WWE Championship match, and you wanted to keep the crowd hot on that front. You want to put them on a babyface win, and having the New Day win would sort of imply, maybe it's going to be a really good day for the New Day. It wasn't a good day for the New Day, and I'm saying day a lot. Day. Anyway, so the main card started after hearing an hour of Jonathan Coachman, which was, well, it wasn't quite an hour, it's probably about 45 minutes, but it's 45 minutes that I won't get back. and I want to know. I want to add up. I'm going to watch all of the pay-per-views this year, and I want to add up how much time of my life has been lost to tweeting about Jonathan Coachman slipping over his words. So the main card began. The main card starts, and we start off with McMahon. That was me forgetting the pun that I made with his team name and just kind of... Oh, yeah, it was Mike the Miz McMahon. That's the pun I came up with. Everybody else is going for all kinds of other puns like McMiz or M&S and S&M or something like that, but that's the one I came up with. It was basically the only one left on the pun table. And they were facing SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. And now, I've seen this match get a couple of harsh reviews. Well, not harsh reviews, but people didn't seem to enjoy this match as much as I did. Because I really liked it. And I think that is mainly because of the Cleveland crowd. The Cleveland crowd really did elevate this match. And Miz was being really, really good, a really good babyface. Which, part of me almost doesn't believe that Miz is somehow a good babyface. But there we go. I think the match was quite good. That spot with Shane trying to go for the coast to coast, and then one of the Usos going, I can't remember which one, went up to the top rope to try and do the splash. That was cool. Although I realised later that I had actually read that slightly differently to everybody else. I was glad I didn't actually tweet what I thought had happened. At first, I thought that that Shane jumped. It's basically a Han shot first situation. I thought Shane jumped to go for the coast to coast, and then Jimmy, instead of going to hit the Miz, went for the splash on him out of midair. But then everybody else was seeing it as the Uso jumped first, and then Shane drop kicked him out of the air. I mean, either way, it was a hard old landing for both involved. Oof, boy! But I like it. I like it. It had a. It's the sort of thing. If you saw that on an indie show, that sort of spot, you'd think, "Oh, that's really cool and inventive and new. That looks great." But because Shane McMahon was doing it, you're like, "Oh, okay. I don't know what happened there." But anyway, and also I do like the fact that that Miz lost because he was getting too up with the crowd, and he went to his dad and said, "Hey, what should I do?" And his dad says, "Hey, go to the top rope." Presumably because his dad, who actually, I've just had a thought. Given that his dad was never a character before this feud, and given that he said that his dad was never proud of him, his achievements in WWE, despite the fact he's been a WWE champion, Intercontinental champion, he's been a tag team champion before all the other sort of stuff. Has Shane's dad? Well, Shane's dad's been watching for a while, but has Mizzy's dad only started watching now? Because I suppose that would explain why he said, hey, son, go up to the top rope, because clearly he's never seen his son wrestle. I'm not going to think about that too long, because it could just get depressing. But anyway, yeah, he went to the top rope, knees from Uso, roll up, Usos retain, which again is the right result. And then, as everybody kind of thought, as soon as we saw that Miz wearing that Cleveland is awesome shirt, it's like, oh, you're getting turned on, aren't you? You poor, poor man. And sure enough, Shane McMahon just said, sod it, I'm going to go all of my MMA things and that. Now, what if I was going to change anything about the angle? The things that I'd want to change are sort of things that they're basically Shane McMahon thinking that he's really good at MMA when he's not. He's a 40, 50-year-old man. He's a 40-year-old man or something. But it's almost like with Shane McMahon, you can't. It's like if you put Shane in a match, that's what he's going to do. So realistically, I couldn't change that. But so I'd say that if there's one thing I would say, maybe a slightly better acting from Miz's dad. Maybe he wasn't brilliant, but. You know, again, he's just a bloke. You can't really expect much of him. But apart from that, good segment. Next one, SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, this one. This one was not given enough time. in my opinion. I tweeted at the time, once the match had finished, that somebody like Mandy Rose, who's not as skilled as other competitors, but is clearly somebody WWE want to push, they need to put her and keep her in the ring with someone of the skill level of Asuka as long as possible. Because that's how she's going to learn that sort of thing. That's how they're going to be able to put together a half-decent match. But this went about 5 minutes, and it was underwhelming. It's like, basically the offense could be shown with Asuka being Asuka, which is cool, but it was occasionally interspersed with Mandy Rose hitting a knee strike, and it was like, I felt like that was all she did. I can't actually remember what else she did in that match other than the finish, where Sonya went and got a kendo stick for no reason, in clear view of the referee. That was quite... I don't know what Sonya was trying to achieve by getting the kendo stick. Like, the referee hadn't gone down. The referee can see you getting the stick. Why didn't the ref just immediately throw her out? Because she's clearly, like, she's not using it as a walking stick. And also the whole thing where they kind of they thought, oh, I know, we can be clever and we can foreshadow the spot with Sonya looking for something under the ring before the finish happens. But there was nothing under the ring, and there was nothing really saying anything else up before that. So she just looked like an idiot. Actually, on that note, I forgot to mention that EC3 managed to stop his silent gimmick by having a chat to Mandy Rose, which Sonya was immediately shut him down for, which was really weird. I just didn't get. Also, EC3 said that he was on both Raw and SmackDown, but he hasn't been on SmackDown. Like, when was the last time he was on SmackDown? He's clearly on Raw. But a lot of my reactions to these end with a sigh, and in logical WWE booking, that's what it does to you. Anyway, yeah. So the finish was Mandy slips on the apron that Sonya has pushed up to get the kendo stick, which she could have just put back down. Let's be honest. And because she slipped, Asuka gives her a big old kick in the face, which was quite stiff, and I'll give him that. Give him that for taking that. It was quite impactful. And it seems like they're building to a split of Absolution. Or wait, what was their tag team name? I remember the tag team name they gave themselves randomly before the Elimination Chamber. I think it was Fire and Desire, which is the most cliche and awful name that I've ever heard for any tag team ever, and I don't know why anybody else wasn't talking about that when it happened. Anyway, so they seem to be putting a split between those two, which I'm not one to try and discourage storylines being told. But the women's tag division has just started up. These are a reliable team. They were the team that were last eliminated out of the Elimination Chamber. So why are you splitting them up? Or why are you splitting them up now? I'd say at least you give them another tag title chance. I've got a really bunged up nose, I realise, but I haven't got anything to blow my nose with right here. So we're going to have to persevere on that one. So anyway, this segment was not good. If I were to change anything, you basically just give them more time and have Asuka actually pin Mandy in a non-distraction by slipping up way. Or make her tap. Yeah, she tapped at Asuka a lot. That just makes sense. Just give them about 5-10 minutes, maybe more than they had. I don't know, 5 minutes more than they had. Have her tap out, and then there's no blowback on Mandy, because of course she tapped out to Asuka. She's Asuka. That's how you put Asuka back on the level that she... Well, she kind of still is, because she made Becky Lynch tap. But... Anyway, moving on. It is just the descended to a sigh. Now, this next segment, I like this. I like this a lot. Right. A lot of people probably didn't, but I liked it. Kofi was told to go to Vince McMahon's office to say, hey, Vince wants to talk to you about the WWE Championship match. So, ooh, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then camera cuts, and he's waiting outside the office, and New Day have come back from their match, and it's like, hey man, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I've been waiting here for an hour. And then they go in, and Vince says, Kofi, I've been waiting here for an hour. Dude, I don't know, is this a Vince McMahon voice? I don't know. Anyway, and he says, right, you're in the match. It's a triple threat, and it's going on next. Kofi comes out. He's pleased as punch, and then little note from the timekeeper. The WWE Championship match is happening later on. Kofi is facing both members of the Bar in a 2-on-1 handicap match, where both of the Bar can appear in the ring at the same time. People won't be happy about this because they think, it's just awful for Kofi. But it's a very good storyline way to say that Vince is not confident in Kofi. The fact that Kofi was waiting out there for an hour, and then Vince comes in, and he says, I've been waiting here. That actually is a very nice little subtle storyline thing where it's a kind of implication that Kofi, again, he's been waiting 11 years for his opportunity, but he was waiting again. He didn't go and take it, because if he'd have walked straight into the office, I think that Vince would have put him in the match. And that's a good, nice little subtle bit of storytelling. I liked it, and having this kind of beatdown is something that will put fans more on edge with Vince. It's like, we want Kofi to get this match at WrestleMania, and that's good. Although, what I would say is maybe make it a bit shorter than it was. By the end of it, the crowd are chanting, "This is boring," and that's something that you don't really want to hear a crowd saying. Also, maybe give Kofi one more hope spot, but other than that, very good. Very good. I liked it as a storyline thing. Although, that being said, if he didn't get the championship match, then it's awful. But he will. Guys, he will get that championship match. Come on. Anyway, I think we'll speed through this next one. The Raw Tag Team Championship match between the Revival, Aleister Black and Ricochet, the Franklin team, and Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. As I said on Twitter, this is exactly what I expected it to be. There was some good tag team dynamics. Ricochet did something fun, and Revival walk out as the winners. And although I think you probably could have, again, maybe given them a bit more time, or a bit more with something else, or what have you, or perhaps a bit more focus, show-wise. But I think, given the situation that the tag team division's in, I think that's probably what I would have done. And I probably wouldn't even change the ending where the NXT call-ups go and beat up the Revival for no reason. The match is over, but they're just kicking them anyway. You do you, guys. You do you. So Revival walkout champions, maybe I'd have them maybe be a bit more confident when they're walking out with the belts, instead of just kind of going back on their asses, going, yeah, we're the champions. Maybe just have them walk back. Also, give them a full entrance. I forgot to mention that. Give them a full entrance. We don't need to know about the commentators now. Why didn't you do that at the beginning of the show? So next match, that Mysterio and Andrade match was replaced with a rematch from SmackDown for the US title, with Joe defending against previously mentioned Mysterio and Andrade and R-Truth. And yeah, this is a good match. Very good match. Potentially the best match on the card? In fact, yeah, I think it was the best match on the card. But I mean, there was another match that had some very, very good wrestling in it, but that had issues which I will get to. But it was a very good match. There were some great little spots. I particularly liked the double, what's it called? Hogan Rana. Double Hogan Rana from Mysterio, and also that finish where Ray hits the 619 and then goes for the splash. Joe dodges it. I genuinely thought, oh god, Mysterio's winning the title. And given that he ended up pinning Joe on the SmackDown, I suppose he may well do it Mania. He probably shouldn't. But Joe eventually puts in the Coquina Clutch. There, I'll say that again. The Coquina Clutch, and retains his belt. And I think Joe should hold this title for a long old time. I think I said on the Twitter machine that He should do with that US title what Goldberg did with the WCW US Championship. Just go on a tear with it. Because, damn it, Samoa Joe is awesome. He's just the best. He's just the best. It's like, my reaction to the finish on all of the other matches was, oh, hey, or which is a very good way of communicating thoughts. But when Joe won, my reaction was, yeah. He's just cool, isn't he? He's just good. And he probably should face Cena at Mania. Just saying. Cena's probably going to face Angle, but he should just give us Cena versus Joe and have Joe just choke him out. It'd just be cool. Be cool. Just let us have things that are cool. Give me what I want, Hunter! Give me what I want! Sorry. I shouldn't laugh at my own jokes. But then again, I am just talking endlessly into a microphone, so perhaps I've gone insane. Well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I suppose the expecting different results would be people listening to this. So yes, I am insane. Specifically insane for not bringing some tissues. Jesus, I don't know. I haven't even got a cold. I was really bunged up. Anyway, next match was the Women's Tag Team Championship. It was good to see these belts in action, obviously. It's good. It's been overdue. But I have some issues with this. For a start, some of the action was a bit sloppy. I think it was the pop up from Tamina into the Samoan drop from I think it was from Nia, and then basically something happened and Sasha basically just falls down, and then falls down Nia's back almost. And also, if you are rewatching that on the network, check out Corey Graves' instant and great save from looking like a complete fuck up. Go, oh, Sasha managed to shift the weight in just such a way. It's like, that is good commentary. I like it. Secondly, I feel like Bayley getting the win with the roll up made a bit of sense, but I realise now in hindsight, the match didn't actually, after the suicide dive spot, which looked weird, was getting a bit of sloppiness in the ring probably from the Samoan side. He almost didn't have much time to breathe after that spot, and then it went into the finish. But my main problem with this is the angle afterwards, because the right people won, obviously. Again, Banks and Bayley should hold those belts for a long time to establish them. But then, because they're just so determined to get their heat back, the Samoan sloppy house went and beat him up after the match. Which, we'd already had a lot of that, this pay-per-view. It kind of got a bit boring. And then Beth Phoenix, who I bet you forgot was out from the commentary as well, I had, went and confronted them, and it's like, oh, hello, this could be something. And then it's like, oh, but Beth Phoenix is fighting the two Samoans up. Oh no, the super kick. Oh dear. Oh, Natalia's coming out to save, like the old team that I've forgotten the name of. Oh, back in the day with Natalia and Beth. That's cool. Oh, they've beaten them up again. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, actually, on that note, quickly, going back slightly to the Kofi segment, why didn't the New Day come out immediately when they saw that their mate was getting beaten up? Were they in the dressing room? Did they have to run a long way? Also, did they get confused and thought that they were banned from ringside for this match, and then had to basically go and check the rulebook? Anyway, so basically what I'm saying is that this segment had, if you want to set up I think it's going to a four corners match between team from SmackDown, probably the Iconics, given that they teased it on the pre-show, the Samoan Sloppy House, Boston Hug, and Phoenix and Natalia. If you're going to do that match, I think what you do is the way to do it is if you want to have the Samoan Thingy House beat them up after the match, okay, that's fine. But you don't have them beat up Phoenix and Natalia. What you do is you have that segment where Nia gets in. Was it Nia or Tamina that got in Beth Phoenix's face? I can't remember. Honestly, don't really care that much. It doesn't matter for the thing. And she slaps him, and it looks like she's. And then numbers game, but Natalia comes out, saves him, but actually does save it instead of getting beaten up more. They send Jax and Tamina packing, and then Bayley and Banks, who it just looked like they died the way that they sold the attack. They've at this point have gotten back up, and Phoenix and Natalya raise their hands to say these are your winners. These are the people you should be caring about, instead of just having Jax and Tamina smirking on top of the ramp. It wasn't that hard, honestly, but what can you do? Oh, right, actually, now the next match. This match was the reason I wanted to do this. So strap in. Kevin Owens comes out for his title match with Daniel Bryan, and then it turns out it's still a triple threat match, which I don't get why Kevin wasn't more annoyed about, really. But anyway, and then Bryan comes out because you have to do that reveal of the third person. The third person to come out is Mustafa Ali. Now, firstly, isn't it weird that in the first episode of this, when I was talking about Kofi's match, one of the first things I said was I wouldn't have Kofi in the Fastlane match because I did that before he got replaced by Owens. Instead I'd have Bryan face Ali and put him in the match instead. And then Ali is in the match, but he's also in the match with Kevin Owens. But everybody wanted Kofi. And this is where the problem comes in, because for the first third, at least, of this match, people were booing Mustafa Ali, the most natural babyface on the roster, because he wasn't Kofi. And Ali couldn't do anything about that. And eventually, they managed to work it around and get the people excited for the match. And I'd say, of overall in-ring performance, I would say these three had the best showing. I wouldn't call it a favourite match, though, because the crowd were invested in the right way in the US 4-way. So, what would you do? What would I do to change it? Well, firstly, Mustafa Ali is not the third man, because Vince is clearly the heel here, but he's giving all of these opportunities to babyfaces. I suppose you could say, oh well, he already gave the thing to Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens, that's quite an interesting character, and Vince didn't know that he was going to be a babyface and start hitting stunners. Which actually, I've just realised, perhaps one of the reasons why Owens has started using the stunner is a way of saying, I'm not with Vince here. And he starts hitting the move that Vince would hate the most. That's probably a coincidence, but it'd be a good story if that is true. But anyway, Ali doesn't come out because, although he deserves to be in this spot, given what happened with these circumstances, we need a heel. We need a heel in here. Because that A means that heat for them not being Kofi is actually being used properly, and B, it gives the crowd more chance to be rooting for Owens, hopefully. So, who do you put in? Well, I think it should have been Randy Orton, for several reasons. One, it means that he didn't have to do that weird segment after, well, the match after this, where Randy RKO's Elias for no reason, and then AJ attacks him, somehow knowing that Randy was going to do that. That made no sense. You should if you want to set up this feud, do it properly. And secondly, having Randy be the man who would be essentially taking the spot where Kofi should be is a lovely little bit of storytelling, a bit of a wink and a nod back to when Randy essentially killed Kofi's push in 2009. You can use that event as a little thing to say, look, this is obviously what the company would do. Putting Randy in this match would not decrease the quality of this match. Those three would be able to put on a good match. But then instead what you do is you have Randy and Kevin Owens in the ring, and Randy hits like a low blow, let's say, and he looks like, and he's being all smug, and he's about to hit the RKO or something, and then that's when we get AJ to come out, hit him with the phenomenal forearm. Kevin Owens is pretty on the ground, is like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, and then he covers Orton, 1, 2, Rowan breaks up the pin, does the claw slam, Bryan crawls into the ring, pins him, 1, 2, 3, and that way you won't get this, because ultimately the accidental heat that ended up going on Owens and Ali could have damaged them. I don't think it has, but the fact that there's a massive old risk there is something that you shouldn't be taking. And having it that way, it means you set up the Orton Styles feud in a much better way, because instead of Orton being mean to Styles for no reason really, now he can say that he cost him the WWE Championship, and that is a nice kind of a booking crutch, but in a good way, to add that feud in. Speaking of crutches, oh, that's a good segue. I should be on radio. We have Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair, and oh god, I never realised all of the things that I didn't really like about this show actually happened all at once. I never realised that, but oh Jesus, this storyline. How has it got to this point? The feud was so simple. So simple. All you had to do was have Becky saying, I want to face Ronda, and then Charlotte can say, I lost the Royal Rumble to somebody who wasn't even in the match. I should have that championship opportunity, and then they both have it, and then you build a simple competitive feud from there. There doesn't need to be McMahon's, there doesn't need to be suspensions, there doesn't need to be knee injuries, there doesn't need to be it's all just the work, you realise you're a mark right from Ronda. You don't need any of that. You don't need it. But this is where we got to. And basically this whole match was Charlotte being a good heel, admittedly, but admittedly it had a kind of thing where it felt a bit like if they actually had a match, this is how it would go down, given that Becky had the injury. And then basically before Becky has the chance to tap out in the figure eight, Ronda comes down, hits Becky, and Becky gets a DQ win, so Becky's in the Mania match. Now, firstly, if Ronda is thinking, if her new character's motivation is, I'm not going to play your game, I'm going to tear down the church of professional wrestling, I'm going to do this my way, I'm not here to entertain you, etc. Why would she want Becky to now be in the match? It felt like a hangover from her last character. It felt like this was what was going to happen before Ronda turned heel. Now it just looks like Ronda's a bit stupid, because you've just made your chances, your Steiner math chances of winning this match lower. Also, what I didn't like about this is that Ronda kind of, admittedly, I did quite like the fact she's basically just leaning up against the ropes and just kind of going, yeah, I did that. Yeah. That's the match. And then she did, oh god, she shouldn't have done the point when she went up the ring ramp though. Like, that would have made so much more sense for her character. When she was being that I'm going to entertain you, she was pointing at the WrestleMania sign like it was the North Star. Like if you follow this, we'll find baby Jesus. I'm currently miming what she's doing. You can't see that, but trust me, I am pointing very, very hard. And then when Ronda goes up the ring this time with Fastlane, she just turns around, points, and leaves. She shouldn't have. She should have turned around and just basically shook her head and then gone. That would have, again, made more sense. So what would I have done? Well, firstly, Ronda would not be involved in this match for those character reasons. Secondly, I wouldn't have actually made this storyline anyway, but I mean, if I had to do one thing to this storyline, a big change, I would have it be that because of the controversy, they are both fighting for their place at WrestleMania. If you want to have Ronda interfere, you could have done a face where thing. If Charlotte loses, then she loses the Mania match, and you could have that story of I want to beat Becky up rather than you. But the rule of this series is that, it's not a series, but when we do this, is we try and stick as much as possible to the actual results of the pay-per-view. So what I would do is very simple. The match starts. Charlotte's going for the knee. Becky's selling it, and then we get to that point where Charlotte is blocking in the figure eight, and Becky is Becky isn't tapping. She's nowhere near close to tapping. And eventually she gets to the ropes. And Charlotte can't believe it. She's like, but how can she do that? Her knee is fucked. She had to sign the what's-its-face, the hold harmless agreement. Like, that shouldn't be possible. And then Becky is just slowly making her way up. Going, come on, you bastard, fight me. And Charlotte runs up and then suddenly gets a big old kick from the leg with the injured knee on it. And Charlotte is almost floored by this because it was something that she wasn't expecting. You can have it where maybe she goes to cover one side, but not the side where the injury is. So thinking that there might be a kick from that side, so you wouldn't expect it from that side, maybe. That'd be quite hard to telegraph. But I'm just saying. And Charlotte kind of is really surprised, and it turns out Becky's been faking the second injury the whole time. She was never injured. And now she's going to kick her ass. and the match goes about maybe 5-10 minutes more, and Becky wins. Clean. Admittedly, that doesn't... You could say that doesn't exactly keep Charlotte strong. But Charlotte is already in there because of Vince. She didn't earn, in quotes, that spot. So the fact that she's in the match anyway, and is going to be able to break up pins and such, that is what keeps her strong. The fact that she is wily, and the fact she's a corporate heel, and plus Charlotte is at the point where I feel like you could have had her lose here, but it's still believable because it's Charlotte. Charlotte lost clean to Carmella last year in a match that I may as well say made no sense, but it didn't kill the legitimacy. She just came back at SummerSlam and won the women's title. She is probably the most reliable in terms of star power star that the women's division has. So you can have her lose matches like this. But anyway, before we go on, we'll go on to the last match, which was the Shield return against Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, or as I called them on Twitter, Drew McIntyre and two other blokes. Actually, I feel like that is a bit harsh on Bobby Lashley, but you know, Bobby's face on the screen. Anyway, I like this match. Yes, there was some kind of rest hold things from Baron Corbin in the middle of it, and a couple of other small things. But as a last time thing for the Shield, this was perfect. They're just playing the hits. They did the Seth diving off of the backstage, not backstage, at the fan thing. You had the two triple power bombs. You had them surrounding Corbin in the ring on three sides. He said all three sides. So there is another side, and it was just good. Like, it was nice, and it's so good to see Reigns back in the ring as well. It was just nice. It's nice. So I wouldn't really change anything about this last match. I suppose that my opinion. I suppose if this match hadn't have actually happened, then I suppose my opinion of Fastlane would probably be a bit worse, because it is always how you leave them. And as a way of how you leave them, sending the fans home happy, it did its job. So well done to them. And I can't think of a smooth way of ending this and moving on to the end card. So I'm just going to do it anyway. So thank you. Thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed it, then please do subscribe and like on YouTube. You can subscribe to what you're listening on podcast-wise. I believe it is currently up on Stitcher and iTunes. I think I might have done something wrong with putting up on Acast, but I will sort that out. So if you're listening on any of those, subscribe and review and whatever else. If you want to hear more of me talking absolute bollocks with a mate of mine, you can go and listen to Two in the Bush, which is a podcast I do with Timothy Broad. If you want, hang on, I got it. If you want to get in contact with me to give me suggestions for what I should book, or just general criticism, like constructive criticism, or anything, even compliments. I'm not asking for compliments, but you can give compliments if you want. You can tweet us at throwingbookpod, or you can email us at throwingthebookpodcast@gmail.com. And with that, I think that brings us to the end. So I shall bid you all farewell.